Leigh-Ann Allaire Perrault is here to get us started. Hey! We know you love a market.
I love a good antique or vintage market. Love it.
It seems to be the in thing. I mean, people go antiquing with their partner, and it's really fun for some people. But please explain. There is a difference between antiquing and finding salvaged goods and just finding retro goods.
A huge difference.
What's the difference?
Well, and I think not knowing what the difference is what freaks people out, because they just go, oh, I want to go find a good deal on something salvage. And those two words don't always match up. Salvage can get very expensive.
Right.
So knowing the difference and knowing where you fit in, what category of a shopper you are, will help you find the best bargain for your home and your style.
Okay.
So I always say antiques, first and foremost. Everybody says that anything old is antique. Kind of gets a bad rap. People think antique moldy, stinky. Antique is actually highly collectible and is over 100 years old, 100 years old and older. So when we think about that, we're thinking craftsmanship, quality made, really unique, bespoke pieces. So they tend to command a higher dollar, especially if they're rare and in good condition. So those are things that you're looking for.
It must be over 100 years old.
Over 100 years old.
Okay.
Right. So then we get into vintage, and vintage is from about 30 years ago to 100 years old. And what that really denotes is the style of the period. So you're buying a style, whether it's the 50s, whether it's the 30s, it's very much the style of that time and defined in the furniture shapes, the materials. It really denotes the interiors of that time when you're looking for home goods.
Okay.
Then we get into what I call retro. Retro. The retro era.
Which would be these things.
Those items there. Now this is within the last 30 years. Let's just say the value is next to none other than sentimental. So these are going to have a lot of sentimental value.
You're not paying more than 50 cents for this.
Exactly. But that is the exact phone I had when I was a child and sits proudly on my coffee table as a conversation point. And the number of people that come over and go, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, right?
I would have died for a phone like this when I was a kid.
Just,
this is amazing.
I think back to all the boys I dialed on that phone, right? Secretly, when my parents didn't know.
Yes, and you had to be like, hello, Mrs. Harris, can I please speak to Bobby? Remember when you had to talk to the parent first?
Who is this? You're shaking on the other side. To salvage, and salvage tends to be architectural finds that again can be a range in dollar, but the value is in that one-of-a-kind detail. So it's going to be very, very unique, and a lot of the uniqueness is the rust and the dust. You're actually paying for that.
You want that.
Exactly. So once you know what you're looking for, we then define who you are. So if you're an antiquer, you're the collectible connoisseur, I would call you. So you're looking for investment pieces. I fit into the vintage shopper. I am the style seeker. That's what I would call myself. So what's been really stylish lately is brass. And people cringe still, the word brass. But I've been scooping it up all kinds because really this is like the not so ugly stepsister to the gold trend. It's a way to affordably get gold in your home. I picked up this chair recently. I don't even want to say how much it was. $15 for this Seska knockoff. It is a knockoff, but I have visions of reupholstering this, but just that little touch of the cantilevered brass in there really speaks to the era, because again, we're talking vintage. So brass is popular, and brass all in one big grouping is a bit overwhelming, but you take a trendy piece. Unicorns are so trendy right now.
Are they?
Look at this little vintage brass one. This in a modern interior would look amazing.
Right.
Then I like, in vintage, the unpolished pretty. So I love this idea. My parents would just cringe because the hours that they used to spend polishing all of their silverware. But the beauty is in the unpolished perfection of this.
The patina is something people absolutely love.
It tells a story. It really does. And then also in terms of vintage and going into salvage is the farmhouse industrial trend.
I love this.
So this is an antique butter churner that I just recently picked up. And what I love about salvage is these pieces truly tell a story. So tucking this into a built-in bookcase where you have all modern, sleek lines of items, this stands out and people go, what is that? And it starts the story. The nice thing about shopping salvage at markets, a lot of the time the people, the owners of the store, know the story behind it, where it came from, how old it is. And really that adds to the value, again, that sentimental value.
It's a living piece in your place.
It absolutely is.
I think that's lovely.
And then retro. We kind of covered this already.
These tell a story too. do.
Now, and I really feel like it's looking at the purpose.
Oh my gosh, it's Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
It's Donkey Kong.
So just having this sitting on a coffee table, and people do exactly what you did. Oh my gosh, it's Donkey Kong! And they talk about when they used to use it. But records, so trendy.
Huge.
Again, not just to play, but also for display. So this was a really easy DIY, and this is actually going part of my basement wall. I've just used wood block in behind to raise a few of them to give you this really cool overlap. What I love about this, even people were coming up before the show going, oh my gosh, I used to love dancing to that song, or check out Lionel Richie dancing on the ceiling. Like, there's memories in music, which I think is so special.
It'll take you back to a place in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. Good, bad, or indifferent.
That's right. That's true. And the cute little TV, the typewriter, which actually typewriters are huge right now.
Huge.
Yeah, people are loving them.
Exactly.
But really good. So now I know what type I am.